Established in 1892 and independent since 1972,
the Kentucky Kernel is a nonprofit student-run media outlet for the University of Kentucky.
The Kernel offers the most extensive news media coverage of UK's campus and the surrounding area.
In episode 5 of this digital magazine, we will be featuring broadcasts and catch you up on all of the things that you might have missed so far in this semester.
On today's episode, you'll hear several stories, including a peaceful fight against looming immigration policies at the No Kings Then, No Kings Now protest in Lexington, research in UK libraries turning to AI tools, former UK swimmer Riley Gaines joining Turning Point USA on campus to campaign against trans women in sports, and the Student Activities Board hosted the Global Carnival, full of games and cultures from around the world right here on campus.
I'm Gavin Brunig.
My name is Drew Matanchuk.
I'm Piper Ono.
I'm Marissa Armstrong, and the Kernel Chronicles begins right now.
A Lexington favorite is proving that popcorn can be more than just a snack. It could be a story. Rayanne's Popcorn Company is popping with personality, flavor, and community, thanks to the passion of its founder, Rayanne White. As customers step through the doors, they're not just grabbing a tasty treat, they're getting a taste of tradition, creativity, and connection. I stopped by the shop to see what's making it such a standout in the community. Here's the story. If you've ever been to the Lexington Farmers Market at Gray Line Station, you might have run into a popcorn wagon full of irresistible, freshly popped corn. That wagon belongs to Rayanne White, founder of Rayanne's Popcorn Company. What started as a kernel of an idea has popped up to be a local sensation in Lexington. Rayanne decided she wanted to create something different while also being her own boss. And during the pandemic, she turned the idea into a reality.
That's kind of how we started, in the midst of the pandemic, making a product in a very small space and just hoping and praying that people would come and buy it. And here we are 4.5 years later in our brick and mortar.
Rayanne's company hasn't been without its challenges, but since launch in November of 2020, the success speaks for itself. Rayanne is also a University of Kentucky fan who has made popcorn for the football team and women's basketball team. But it's not just UK she's done business with.
I've also been a part of 3 Disney movies, how they do their boxes. So I was a part of West Side Story, Red, the movie Red. They asked me to paint my popcorn red, not paint it, but to make it red. So I did, I colored it red. And then Thor, Thunder, and Love.
And that's not all. Her popcorn has been sent to a member of the Cincinnati Bengals and even Ellen DeGeneres. With passion and love for what she creates, Rayanne takes pride in every new batch she makes.
We're just blessed. We're just grateful to produce a product that people have come and loved. And, you know, we won't settle for not selling fresh popcorn. We just won't.
Every new flavor she develops is a new way to showcase her talents and commitment to serving only the best quality popcorn. But according to Rayanne, the driving force behind her success is all about the community and the friends she's made along the way.
That's what gets it for me. That's my high right there, is when people come in week after week and we sit at the popcorn bar and we eat popcorn and we chat. I love it. I love it.
For this story and more, head over to kykernel.com. This was Drew Matanchuk reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Drew, for your story and that flavorful spotlight on a local favorite. At this year's TEDxUKY, Mosaic Minds entrepreneur and speaker Stephen Slidell opened up about how deep personal loss became a catalyst for change. His talk focused on the power of grief, and not as an end, but as a beginning. Reporter Isabella Lindsay brings us his moving message.
Speakers took to the stage to explore how their life experiences shape who they are at this year's TEDxUKY Mosaic Minds. Among them was Stephen Slidell, a speaker and founder of the Slidell Agency, who shared how the loss of his parents was a powerful force for his personal growth. He believes that even the most difficult moments in life can serve as opportunities.
Loss and problems are there to help inspire us to become better versions of ourselves. Loss especially because it's a reminder of the things that we love so much.
Rather than letting hardships hold people back, Slidell encourages shifting the narrative, turning pain into motivation. He challenges the idea that grief is something to simply get over, instead viewing it as a reminder to reconnect with purpose. By embracing the lessons that come with loss, he believes people can not only heal, but grow into stronger, more compassionate versions of themselves.
We're all going to have pain. There's bad things that are going to happen. But the suffering is optional, and that's where if we can elevate ourselves and use these experiences to figure out that they're teaching moments and what can we bring from them.
Through the story of his mom's loss and how she is a reminder of perseverance, Seidel's talk showed that grief doesn't have to define us. It can push us towards something greater. TEDxUKY licensee Deborah Pena says Seidel's approach struck the right balance, acknowledging the difficulty of grief while showing a path forward.
He really balances how to talk about grief without being too optimistic and not dealing with how hard it is, but at the same time, how can you make it real and how can you use it for your own purpose?
For more on TEDxUKY Mosaic Minds, go to kykernel.com. This has been Isabella Lindsay reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Isabella, for that heartfelt story. It really struck a chord. Now, from powerful words to powerful moves, UK students danced their hearts out at this year's 20th annual Dance Blue Marathon, and the results were totally incredible. The 24-hour event raised more than $2.3 million for kids fighting cancer, breaking records and busting moves for a cause close to campus hearts. Jackson Reddish steps onto the floor to show us how this year's marathon really hit its stride.
Young man, always surfing, no waves. I do it for the kids.
2025 marks a special year because it is the 20th annual Dance Blue Marathon, where students at the University of Kentucky dance to raise funds for pediatric cancer research and treatment. Dance Blue this year was held at the newly renovated Memorial Coliseum, and this year marks 20 years since the first Dance Blue. Jenna Brooks, a junior at the University of Kentucky, says it is her first time at Dance Blue and comments on how this year in particular stands out.
The excitement from everybody, like from the morale team, from the logistics team, like from everybody is just like so contagious, and like for me personally, I can't help but be excited because they're excited.
Despite this year's marathon ending at 6 p.m. rather than 8 p.m. due to approaching weather conditions, Dance Blue still had their biggest year yet, raising over $2.3 million, breaking last year's record of $2.1 million. With a growing number of participants, you can find around 1,000 people on the floor dancing, according to danceblue.org. Sarah Dutton, a senior at the University of Kentucky, has been involved with Dance Blue 3 times and talks on how it has changed from the first ever Dance Blue to the 20th annual Dance Blue.
The first year of Dance Blue to now, and in their first years they were only raising $100,000 or a little bit more than now, and now we're at $2.1 million every single year.
Of course, the marathon itself is not easy. Participants must refrain from sleeping or sitting for 24 hours to support the children at the Dance Blue Kentucky Children's Hospital Hematology Oncology Clinic who are fighting cancer. Dutton says that Dance Blue is so much bigger than themselves, and that the children is what keeps them going in year 20.
Those kids that we're raising money for are suffering a lot more than we are, and they're going through something that a little kid their age should not have to go through. So our 24 hours of pain is no amount to what they're going through. So just kind of thinking about that, keeping that mindset.
For more information on Dance Blue, go to kykernel.com. I'm Jackson Reddish reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Jackson. Those dancers really stepped up and showed what it means to be for the kids. Now we're turning up the heat in the kitchen with a side of history. Award-winning author Crystal Wilkinson is serving up more than just recipes at the University of Kentucky's William T. Young Library. In a flavorful event rooted in heritage and heart, she's dishing out stories from her latest book, Praise Song for the Kitchen Ghost, a collection that blends 40 recipes with rich reflections on Black history, family, and food. Reporter Cynthia Byrne has a taste of this soulful celebration.
The 2025 Edward Pritchard Lecture features award-winning author Crystal Wilkinson. Wilkinson reads about her recent book, Praise Song for the Kitchen Ghost, a work that brings together Black African history with culinary traditions. Presented at William T. Young Library, Wilkinson took the stage to share her hidden legacy of Black culinary arts. Through her grandmother's recipes and her own journey as a descendant of enslaved ancestors, she creates a deep connection with the audience with her idea of Kitchen Ghosts. Jill Abney, an attendee, shares her connection to this concept.
I'm really moved by the content of Kitchen Ghosts and just find it really touching as someone who grew up in Appalachia and whose mother cooks a lot, or cooked a lot when I grew up and still cooks today.
The book features 40 recipes, including hot milk cake, cornbread, and other dishes. Each accompanied by its own unique stories, readers have the opportunity to learn these new cuisines, all while embracing the presence of love and family. UK student Pascal Leroy resonates with the idea of family in kitchen.
I really like the idea of like kitchen ghosts and that like our grandmothers and stuff being in the kitchen with us like as we're cooking, because that's something that I definitely like think of and like inspired from my grandmothers and stuff when I'm cooking. So I think that was like a really huge thing that touched me. I'd never heard that term, kitchen ghost, but I think it's very like fitting.
After the lecture, participants lined up in the hall for a chance to meet Wilkinson one-on-one, where they could get autographed, purchase books, and engage in discussions. Later, author Wilkinson shared her thoughts on how the idea of kitchen ghosts came about.
Well, my primary kitchen ghost is my grandmother, and that's how I came up with it. After she died and I was trying to cook my first big Thanksgiving meal, and suddenly I felt as if she was there with me, and I heard her say, okay, let's do this. Not too much salt. Turn your fire down. Turn it up a little bit.
For more information about the Crystal Wilkinson event, go to kykernel.com. This was Cynthia Byrne reported from the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Cynthia. Talk about food for thought. Now let's dive into something that's been on everybody's mind recently, inflation. With the cost of basic necessities on the rise, many Americans are feeling the pinch. And with the Trump administration's recent economic plan still up in the air, the future of inflation is anyone's guess. I'll break down what's going on and where we might be headed.
All across the United States, high prices are becoming a growing problem. University of Kentucky students have begun to notice the trend as well, such as management and marketing student Amelia Hampton,
I definitely think it makes me think more about what I'm buying,
who can feel the pressure of the rising prices.
cutting out things that aren't a necessity.
According to Pew Research, nearly 3/4 of all Americans listed prices of food and other common consumer goods as their #1 economic concern coming into election season last November. However, while food prices might currently be high, their inflation rates tell a bit of a more interesting story. The inflation rate that the federal government aims for is 2%. And when looking at 2023 and 2024, the inflation rates for food were sitting at around 2.5 and 2.6% respectively. So why are prices still so high? Well, when looking back at 2021 and 2022, food inflation rates had skyrocketed to 10.1 and 7%, the highest rate seen since 1979.
Prices of necessary goods, such as food, tend to not decrease after a large spike in inflation. So as inflation continues to stagnate, while food prices will not increase, they are not likely to decrease either. And when looking to the future, inflation is not likely to stand still for very long.
I think the expectation now is that we're not going to see kind of that continual easing of the inflationary pressures, that inflation might actually increase over the next year.
The director for the UK Center of Business and Economic Research, Mike Clark, emphasizes the uncertainty that we're looking at as the Trump administration's tariff plans seem to change by the week.
A lot of what is being discussed is if these tariffs are put in place and are permanent. Tariffs are being used in a very different way right now by the current administration. It could be that depending on how the negotiations go, we might find ourselves right back where we were in terms of tariffs.
To read more about inflation or other economic trends and changing policies, visit kykernel.com. This is Gavin Brunig reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Gavin, for that insightful breakdown on inflation. Next up, students took a trip around the world. No passport required. The Student Activities Board brought the world to the Gatton Student Center with this year's Global Carnival. From international bites to cultural crafts and inflatable fun, attendees got a taste of global traditions without ever leaving campus. Reporter Kara Rayford takes us on a whirlwind tour of this colorful celebration.
Students traveled the world without a passport at the Global Carnival in Gatton Student Center. Attendees enjoyed food and crafts, immersing them in cultures from around the globe.
Participants gathered at the carnival to spend time with their friends and immerse themselves in a variety of customs. The event included stations with cuisines from around the world, ranging from Mexican to Italian food. Akansha Kanduri, the co-director of Multicultural Affairs for the Student Activities Board, feels that it's important that UK students be exposed to new experiences.
This is a great way for students to come and experience everything in a way that is accessible to them, that's open for everyone.
With the end of the semester and academic year coming up, attendees of the carnival were looking for outlets to relieve their stress. Just Be Betequila, a sophomore at UK, is always looking for different ways to channel her stress from being a student.
I also think it's important to take time to kind of just, pour back into yourself and like your well-being.
Not only did the carnival help relieve her stress, but she also felt a sense of community during the event.
We also live here, so it gives a sense of home and belonging.
While students didn't actually travel the world, they gained diverse perspectives and escaped the stress of being a student at the Global Carnival.
To learn more about this story, visit kykernel.com. I'm Kara Rayford with the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Kara, for that colorful look at the Global Carnival. Now let's turn our attention to a different kind of celebration, one that hits all the right notes. Lexington is marking its 250th anniversary with a special event in the 250 Lex Music Series, and this time, it's all about the music of Anthony Philip Heinrich. With the Transylvania University Chamber Orchestra and Eastern Kentucky University School of Music taking center stage, attendees got the chance to not only hear Kentucky-made music, but also dive into its rich history. Reporter Chloe Bradley takes us through the harmonious tribute to Kentucky's past.
In celebration of Lexington, Kentucky's 250th anniversary, Central Library presented the music of Anthony Philip Heinrich, which featured Transylvania University's Chamber Orchestra and Eastern Kentucky University's School of Music. The Dawning of Music in Kentucky event was a part of Central Library Gallery's exhibit, Collected Memory, Items and Artifacts from 250 Years of Lexington History. Anthony Philip Heinrich was one of America's first composers, and his music is deeply rooted in Kentucky's history. Ron Penn gave an introductory speech on Heinrich's life and discussed how music plays a role in Lexington's history.
Lexington has been intertwined with all kinds of music since its beginning. We've got that kind of vernacular history that's really a part of our world.
This event gave Kentucky residents not only the chance to hear classical music that was created here, but also to hear the stories behind the songs. Larry Spell, Transylvania University's Director of Instrumental Ensembles, worked on Heinrich's songs with his students and discussed why learning the background to music is important.
I think it's so important to contextualize where this music is coming from so that you can sort of get a window into what they were doing and a window into their soul.
Penn hopes people will remember how Kentucky has a history of persistence and bouncing back from hard times, and he hopes they will remember that history as they look toward the future.
It didn't just happen yesterday. It's been a long history here, and we have to remember that so we know and have faith in it going forward.
For more information on the Dawning of Music in Kentucky event, go to kykernel.com. This was Chloe Bradley reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Chloe, for that look into Kentucky's musical history. Shifting focus to an issue that's been on the minds of many at the University of Kentucky. With 6 crime bulletin emails sent out this school year alone, including reports of on-campus sexual assaults, concerns about safety have been growing. To address this, the university is highlighting resources such as Kempo, a martial arts-based self-defense club, and the VIP Center, which supports survivors of violence. I took a look at these resources so you can know more about what's being done to keep UK communities safe. The University of Kentucky has sent out 6 emails in this school year alone regarding on-campus sexual assault cases. With this growing number of emails, many UK community members are left concerned for their safety here on campus. In seeking out safety resources that UK has to offer, some have stumbled upon UK's Kempo Club. Founded in 1993, Kempo is a donation-based martial arts club that focuses on self-defense. Members of the club learn various karate and jiu-jitsu techniques in a safe way. The instructor, Chip Sebastian, says that he wants to focus on defense rather than offense.
We detest violence. We don't want it. If someone is violent with us, we are glad that we have some skills to deal with it, and we really hope we can avoid it.
The club is open to anyone, much like Art Studios major Maria Pomokova. She says that she joined the club because she wanted to be able to defend herself in threatening situations.
There's a lot happening on campus as of late, and I think a lot of people should be taking advantage of all their resources, no matter how big or small they are.
She says that this club has made her more knowledgeable of her surroundings. Boone Provorachit, an electrical engineering major at UK, says that he was originally concerned that he would not be able to learn all of the martial arts curriculum, but it has now helped develop himself into a better person and being.
The training process is always different for every single individual, and we always try to meet the individual where they are in their training process.
Aside from extracurricular organizations that teach self-defense, UK offers resources to students and staff members who have gone through interpersonal violence experiences. The VIP Center is a part of the Office of Student Success at UK, and its main mission is to support and advocate for survivors of interpersonal violence and educate surrounding community members on prevention.
It really is going to take literally all of us to prevent violence in our communities and to be able to play that role to collectively become intolerant.
Following community efforts, the VIP Center hosts a bystander intervention program called the Green Dot. This program follows the 3 Ds: direct, distract, and delegate, which encourage intervention in a harmful situation.
But as a bystander, if I see something, I'm going to feel like I can do something about that.
According to Dodgen, the VIP Center recognizes that rape and assault are difficult topics for many, and it may be uncomfortable for individuals to talk about. They encourage survivors to come when they feel it is right for them.
And we really want for survivors to feel like they're the boss and that they are self-determined and they have agency and autonomy at every step of the way.
For more information regarding safety and resources across UK's campus, be sure to check out kykernel.com. I'm Marissa Armstrong, reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Marissa, for that important update on campus safety. Now, let's take a look at a program that's helping students succeed here at the University of Kentucky. The Cats Up survey, provided by UK Housing, is designed to help students living in dorms navigate the semester more smoothly. With surveys given at the start of the semester and again around midterms, the program offers support through follow-up meetings with resident advisors to discuss time management, campus life, and tips for success. Reporter Delaney Wells has more on how this initiative is giving Wildcats the tools they need to thrive.
Students living in UK housing may be familiar with the Cats Up surveys provided by the dorms. These surveys offer residents the guidance they may need when dealing with the semester and class load. Justin Blevins, Associate Dean of Students for the Residential Experience, says having a peer mentor guide students through the new school year has proven to help residents flourish.
If you're staying on campus with us, we want to help you adjust academically, socially to campus, help you be successful.
The Cats Up survey is given twice a semester, first about 3 weeks in, and then for a second time around midterms. They aim to check up on students' mental well-being and find ways to help if a resident needs it.
The root of why we do Cats Up is so nobody falls through the cracks, so that we have a touch point with every resident.
Cats Up takes place in 2 parts, with the first being a survey and the second being a follow-up meeting with the RA where they discuss ways to improve time management skills, get acclimated to campus, and give tips on how to succeed during the school year.
Further down, it asks some open-ended questions about like, are you aware of the resources on campus? Out of all the resources on campus that you're aware of, are there any that you need help connecting with?
For more information on Cats Up, go to kykernel.com. This is Delaney Wells reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Delaney, for that look into the Cats Up survey. Now we're headed to Keeneland, where it may have been chilly, but tailgaters were on fire for Spring College Scholarship Day, with food, music, and plenty of activities to keep the crowd warm. Attendees braved the cold for a day of fun just outside of the main event. Reporter Olivia White races to bring us the highlights from this exciting event.
It's off to the races at Keeneland's spring meet, and excitement is building as crowds gather outside the track to tailgate before heading in to cheer on their picks.
With the natural scenery and an atmosphere charged with anticipation for the races, tailgating the spring meet becomes an event to look forward to each year. Students at the University of Kentucky who attended tailgates and races for College Scholarship Day thrive in this atmosphere based on community. John Erzum, a senior in civil engineering at UK, shared this experience with his mother, who was visiting Keeneland for the first time.
You kind of get to build the excitement at the tailgates, and then you get to carry it in.
Some even travel across state lines to experience the welcoming environment that lives outside Keeneland's door. Lindy Majors, a tailgater from South Carolina, waits all year to return to Kentucky for the culture that stems from racing.
The culture, the tradition, the fun that Kentucky is, it is a true warmth of the South.
While the cold weather tested tailgaters' willingness to participate, they came up with creative solutions to keep the tradition going.
They got hand warmers, and you just gotta make do with what you got.
Attendees came to Keeneland to watch horse racing, but they started their days with community.
I'm excited to spend a lot of time with our closest friends and family.
For more on this story, visit kykernel.com. This is Olivia White, reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Olivia, for that look at the tailgating fun at Keeneland. Now we're tuning into a groundbreaking moment at UK Healthcare. The medical center has become the first to use a new cochlear implant technology, helping improve the hearing of patients in ways that weren't possible before. 11-year-old DeJuan Broadus Jr. is the first to receive the cochlear implant thanks to the expertise of Dr. Nathan Cass. Reporter Chloe Bradley listens in on how this technology is raising the bar for hearing restoration.
University of Kentucky Healthcare became the first institution in the United States to place the Flex 34 cochlear device when they treated 11-year-old patient DeJuan Broadus Jr. at the Kentucky Clinic. Dr. Nathan Cass worked alongside Broadus and his family and was the one to place this new technology. Pediatric patient DeJuan Broadus Jr. was treated at the Kentucky Clinic for severe hearing loss and received the Flex 34 cochlear implant from MED-EL. This was the first time this cochlear implant had been used in the United States and North America. The Flex 34 is a 34mm long electrode array and is the longest electrode array on the market for cochlear implants. Dr. Nathan Cass, an ear, nose, and throat specialist, discussed how he is able to select the best electrode for each patient.
Based on the size, I can select an electrode that fits that person's cochlea most exactly.
Dr. Cass discussed how everyone is born with a uniquely sized cochlea. Cochlear implants are sold by 3 different manufacturers in the United States, and Broadus and his family chose to use MED-EL as they already provided the longest array, and his implant was even longer.
He was uniquely situated to receive this longer implant in order to give him the best coverage, the best cochlear coverage of the frequencies.
Letitia Broadus, DeJuan's mother, discussed the biggest adjustments they faced after he received this cochlear implant.
He literally went from not hearing to being able to hear. So it was a lot of emotions and a lot of adjustment came with that.
For more on this story, go to kykernel.com. This was Chloe Bradley, reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Chloe, for that look at the groundbreaking work at UK Healthcare. Now we're serving up some fun on campus. UK students were on their toes at the annual ping pong ball drop, where they raced to catch marked ping pong balls for a chance to win exciting prizes. Reporter Christian Kantosky returns the bounce with a look at this event that had everyone pinging with excitement.
At the University of Kentucky, students have seen everything when it comes to weather. Even still, few expected to watch thousands of ping pong balls fall from the sky outside Patterson Office Tower on Thursday afternoon.
Students gathered at the base of the tower to sign up for the event hosted by the Student Activities Board, where they could win prizes including a TV, headphones, Bluetooth speaker, or a camera.
In order to win these prizes, students had to catch ping pong balls labeled with an emoji. For Information Communication Technology senior Steve Romero Tellez, getting a prize wasn't his expectation, especially after winning an Xbox at last year's ping pong ball drop. Romero Tellez says when he heard the ping pong ball drop would be returning to campus, he was hopeful to win something again.
Oh, I am very happy. This is honestly better than the Xbox that I got last year.
Like Romero Tellez, many students brought umbrellas to help them catch ping pong balls.
UK sophomore Gunnar Aberly says that he found plastic trash bags inside Patterson Office Tower to help him catch so many ping pong balls.
I'd say about 567.
Even after catching several ping pong balls, Aberly says he didn't win a prize, and he was not disappointed with the outcome.
Honestly, we're all winners, because the real reward was the friends we made along the way.
Aberly says that making new friends helped to make the experience enjoyable.
To learn more about the ping pong ball drop, visit our website at kykernel.com. This is Christian Kantosky reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Christian, for that lively look at the ping pong ball drop. The streets of Lexington were filled with passion as protesters gathered for the No Kings Then, No Kings Now rally. This peaceful protest, which included moving testimonies and speeches took a stand against immigration policies. Reporter Olivia White marches us through the story of this impactful event.
Lexington residents have gathered at the Robert F. Stevens Courthouse to peacefully march and protest in commemoration of the American Revolution and continue the fight for democracy.
No Kings, Then or Now Protest and March brought thousands together to listen to speakers, march, and share personal testimonies speaking out against immigration policies. Organizers of the event, like Lewis Knupp, plan these gatherings to mobilize Lexington and unite crowds behind a single cause.
When one person doesn't have the rights, eventually nobody does.
Knupp's goal is to show people they aren't alone. There are organizations planning peaceful protests around Kentucky where everyone has a voice. Oslam Davis, a protester at the march, supports Knupp's sentiments and is proud to be part of this cause, especially as an immigrant.
I feel overjoyed seeing people of all ages, all backgrounds coming together and saying no to extremism.
Attendees and local groups have grown in size as protests continue in Kentucky, showing immigrants like Davis that they are not alone in their fight. Support against ICE and immigration policies runs deep in Lexington residents that attended the march, who will continue to stand behind the message, no kings then, no kings now.
For more on this protest, visit kykernel.com. This is Olivia White, reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Thanks, Olivia, for your coverage on this protest. Former UK swimmer Riley Gaines returned to her alma mater for a talk titled "The Fight is Far From Over," with her views on women's sports and the ongoing debate around fairness and free expression. Gaines sparked a lively discussion among students. Reporter Isabella Lindsay takes us inside this conversation that's pushing the boundaries on today's sports culture.
Turning Point USA hosted the Fight is Far From Over tour, featuring former University of Kentucky swimmer Riley Gaines. Held at the Gatton Student Center on UK's campus this past Monday, Gaines, a 12-time All-American swimmer and vocal advocate for single-sex competition in women's sports, took the stage. She addressed the crowd about what she believes is at stake for female athletes today.
Again, my stand isn't against anyone or against anything. It is a stand that is for something. I'm standing for women. I'm standing for privacy in areas of undressing. I'm standing for safety in our sports and beyond. I'm standing for maintaining the right to call ourselves champions, maintaining our dignity as women.
Turning Point USA's UK chapter president, Elizabeth Coleman, said the event aimed to encourage discussion, not division.
And we get to actually talk and understand each other, and that's why it's so important, is because without conversation, the other party gets demonized.
The night drew a diverse group of students engaging in ongoing national debates around athletics, fairness, and free speech. For more on The Fight is Far From Over, go to kykernel.com. This has been Isabella Lindsay reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
Now let's wrap up with a tool that's making student research a whole lot easier. The University of Kentucky Libraries has introduced the InfoCat Research Assistant, an AI-powered tool designed to help students find the most relevant sources for their research questions. The new tool aims to simplify the initial stages of research, making it easier for students to find the right materials. Reporter Chloe Bradley brings us the details on how InfoCat is changing the way students approach studies.
The University of Kentucky implemented the InfoCat Research Assistant on their website towards the end of 2024. The tool is an AI-powered search engine designed by Ex Libris and is used to assist individuals in looking for sources to back up their research questions. Stacey Greenwell, coordinator of educational services for UK Libraries, discussed how the system is a good place for students to get started with their research.
It's not necessarily a place to replace finding articles and reading and evaluating those articles yourself.
According to a UK Libraries article, the tool searches nearly 6 billion records in the Ex Libris Central Discovery Index and will find the 5 most relevant abstracts. Greenwell also discussed where the system will pull its sources from.
It relies on our library resources that are already materials that we have access to or are in our library collection.
Since February of this year, the system has now been updated to allow researchers to narrow the search to only peer-reviewed sources and set a publishing limit to result in more recent sources. Daniel Noss, the Library Discovery Coordinator for UK Libraries, discussed how this system is different from the traditional library search bar.
This new alternate search angle will go on and give you its top 5 picks and then give you a little explanation of why it picked those.
For more information on the InfoCat Research Assistant, go to kykernel.com. This was Chloe Bradley reporting for the Kentucky Kernel.
For all things Kentucky Kernel, be sure to check out our website at kykernel.com and all of our social media, including X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya!